Hello, Year 4. We've got Tuesday's English lesson today. I hope you enjoyed reading Chapter 1 of The Horned Helmet yesterday. Today's learning is going to continue with our thinking of the Horned Helmet, and we're going to hear the next part of the story as well. I'm really looking forward to a very exciting lesson. So, thinking back to yesterday's learning then, we were introduced to the character of Bjorn. We can see an image of what we think he might have looked like here. Okay, and just to start off with, I just want you to remind yourself, what can you remember that you know about Bjorn so far? You might like to return back to your mind map that you created yesterday, or some of your answers to your questions that you jotted down yesterday. What can you remember so far about him as a character? Now, I wonder if I think I know that he's just a young boy. I remember that he's all alone in the world. I know that his mother was taken by a shipload of Vikings about a year ago and he hasn't seen her since. I know that his father had no choice but to jump off the cliff into the sea, and since then Bjorn's been left alone. I also know that he was quite a brave young boy because he really tried his hardest to stand up to Cole, the leader of the council. And when he was told that he needed to be a slave for Glam, he really didn't want to do that. He knew that that was wrong. I also know that he feels quite strongly and particularly about his family, so he must be quite a loyal character. And I know that because he really tried his hardest to defend his father when his father was accused of burning down the barn. We know that Bjorn said it wasn't his father and he tried to defend him. We know that he said it was lightning that caused that to happen. So we know that he must be quite a loyal character. I wonder if you came up with any other differences, any other thoughts about that character. Okay, so today we're going to continue thinking about Bjorn, and wouldn't it be amazing if we could meet him? I know I've got lots of questions that I'd want to ask him. I wonder if you do too. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could meet him? I wonder.
Bjorn, please take to the hot seat. We have some questions for you.
Hello.
Bjorn, why did you run away from Thorstead?
I couldn't face them. They're horrible. They're going to treat me as a slave. I can't be their slave. I need to have a normal life. I haven't done anything wrong. My poor father, he had no choice. He had to jump off the cliff. And now I'm all by myself. I have no one to look after me. So they want me to be their slave. They will treat me terribly. I can't do that. I have no choice. I have to run.
Why didn't you face Glam and follow Cole's judgment?
He's terrifying. He's huge. He's mean. He will treat me terribly. I've seen how he treats other people. He will hurt me. He will force me to do the terrible jobs around the village. That's no life for me. I haven't done anything wrong. I can't stay with Glam. I don't deserve to be a slave. And Cole made that judgment unfairly. My father did nothing wrong. I shouldn't have to be his slave. It was lightning that burnt down the barn, I tell you. Lightning.
Are you angry with your father?
He did what he needed to do. I understand. I wish he was still here with me. I wish that he could take care of me. I know my father would guide me and tell me what to do, but I know he had no choice. I understand why he did what he had to do. I just hope that he's safe.
Where will you go now?
I don't know. I need somebody to guide me. I wonder who can give me the information that I need now. I have no father to help me. I have no mother to help me. I need help. Who can I turn to tell me where to go? I can't stay in this village. I can't stay in Thorstead anymore. I need a new place to go. Somebody needs to guide me.
Who will look after you now?
I need somebody new, somebody that I can trust. Cole and Glam are not the people for me. I need to find a new village. I'm going to leave Thorstead and I'm going to find somewhere else to live. I know that I can find somewhere where I can be and lead a happy life.
What will happen if Glam finds you?
I dread to think what he might do to me. He would have treated me badly in the first place, and that was before I ran away and I had no choice. Now he will treat me terribly. He will hurt me. He will make me do the most terrible things. He will give me all of the worst jobs in the village. I can't face it. I need to go.
How amazing was that? We met Bjorn from the story. He did look quite familiar. Poor Bjorn. We know just how sorry we feel for him now, don't we? We know that he has no choice. We know he's desperate for somebody to guide him. He said that quite a lot, didn't he? In the hot seat there. He doesn't know who to turn to. He doesn't know who to trust. He has nobody to guide him. So I wonder who Bjorn could choose to guide him. He has no mother, no father, no adult figure in his life. So a young boy living in those times, who might he turn to? What advice would you give to Bjorn if you were in his position? I just want you to have a think about that question. Perhaps have a chat with somebody, perhaps a brother or a sister or somebody in your house. What would you do if you were Bjorn? Who would you turn to? Now, I think I know. I know that in those times, the Vikings believed in a number of different gods. And we've talked about some of those characters when we looked at our class reading. And I know that one of those gods that's already been mentioned in chapter 1 was the god Thor. Do you know who Thor was? You can see quite an interesting picture of him here. So Thor was a hammer-wielding god, and he was the god that the Vikings believed that was responsible for sending thunder and lightning and terrible storms to the earth. They also believed that he was a mighty god and that he would protect them. So the Vikings really trusted the gods and trusted their beliefs. So now you can see why, when Bjorn said yesterday in the story that he thought it was Thor, he thought it was lightning that had set light to Glam's barn, that was never a possibility, because we know that for Cole, he believes that that could never have happened because the gods would never do that. They are trusting and they're there to protect them. Okay, so thinking along the lines of those gods then, and Bjorn being desperate to help him, I wonder who he might ask. So we know that it wasn't just Thor that the Vikings believed in. We know that there were other gods as well. Odin, who is the father of Thor, who they believed was associated with war, battle, victory, and wisdom. They believed Odin was incredibly powerful and mighty, okay? And full of wisdom, that means incredibly wise and clever. So I want you to keep that thought in your head, that we know that Bjorn doesn't have anybody else to turn to. So perhaps Odin might be somebody for Bjorn that he might have to turn to. I want you to listen to chapter 2. You'll find the reading of chapter 2 from Miss Eddleston on YouTube. And I want you to listen to just the beginning part of that chapter until Miss Eddleston stops reading. And I want you to be thinking about, while you're listening to the chapter, what might Bjorn say if he could speak to Odin, perhaps pray to Odin or write to Odin? What might he say? Okay, so pause this video now and listen to chapter 2. So, we heard Father Odin being mentioned, didn't we, in chapter 2? And that's going to be the focus of our learning today. You can see today we're going to be thinking about emotive language. Now I know emotive sounds a bit like the word. I can see the start of the word here has emote, and it sounds a bit like emotion, okay? And that's exactly what it means. When an author writes things down or puts some words on a page, they're trying to make the reader, the person reading it, feel something. Okay, and that's what I want you to see if you can identify today. We know that we feel incredibly sorry for Bjorn. Okay, he's got nobody in the world to look after him, and he just needs some guidance. He just needs to know where to go. Okay, so if he was going to pray to the gods, Father Odin, the mighty god Thor, then we know that he would want the gods to feel sorry for him. The way that they would help him, they would have to feel sorry for him. So he would have to get some emotion in his writing or in his prayer that he might say. So I've got an example of a letter, a bit like a prayer here, that Bjorn might say to Odin or Thor. Okay, and I want you to see if you can identify, while I'm reading it to you, I want you to see if you can identify how has Bjorn tried to make the gods feel sorry for him. He really wants their help. How is he going to try to make them to do it? Okay, so follow along as I'm reading. It says, "Dear wise Father Odin and mighty God of the skies Thor, I'm writing this letter to appeal to you for your help and support, as I need you now more than ever before. Not only am I a poor boy with no mother, but now I find myself all alone in the world as a result of grave injustice." That means something's really unfair. "Although my father never wronged anyone, he's been accused of burning down another man's barn, and rather than fight to the death, he hurled himself into the cruel seas, leaving me all by myself. As if this was not enough punishment, I was then told that I must repay my father's debt by becoming a slave to a brutal and vile man. Surely this is not right. Rather than suffer his beatings, I ran away. What else could I do? However, now I'm alone, weak, hungry, and in need of your help. Please, Father Odin, send me some sign of where I should go. I know you have the wisdom to guide me to safety. If anyone can help me now, I know it is you, mighty Thor. Send protection to keep me safe from harm. Your humble servant, Bjorn." So, what things has Bjorn done in his letter to the gods that would make them want to help him? Those gods would have to feel sorry for him, and they would feel some emotion towards Bjorn that would make them want to help him. I spotted 3 features where Bjorn's been able to do that. Okay, and the 3 things that I know that Bjorn has done within his letter is he's used rhetorical questions. Now we know, we've come across rhetorical questions before. We know that rhetorical questions are questions that make the reader think the answer to something. So they're asked in a way where you wouldn't necessarily need to answer them, but you know the answer to them, and they make the reader think the answer quite clearly. Flattery. Flattery is when you say something really nice about somebody, so you would flatter them, and by doing that you would make them like you. So can you spot in the letter where Bjorn might have spoken really nicely to Odin and Thor in order to make them feel like they have to help him because he flattered them? And also emotive language. Where has Bjorn used emotive language to make the gods feel sorry for him? And if they feel sorry for him, of course they're going to help him. Okay, so that's your task for today. You'll find this letter on the Google Drive. I want you to pick out those 3 features that we've just talked about: rhetorical questions, flattery, and emotive language. You can either do that by highlighting them on the text if you can print it out. If not, jot the words down. I want you to make it clear to me that you can see the examples of rhetorical questions, flattery, and emotive language in this letter, because tomorrow we're going to be using them ourselves, okay, to be able to write our own. So that's your task for today. I look forward to seeing your examples of that. Don't forget to share it with me. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.